In the small suburban town of Westfield, New Jersey, a house sat quietly on Boulevard Street, nestled among rows of neatly kept homes. This was 657 Boulevard, an unassuming Dutch colonial, home to the Broaddus family. The Broaddus family consisted of Derek, his wife Maria, and their 3 young children. They had purchased the house as a dream home, a place to raise their family in the tranquil and friendly neighborhood they had grown fond of. But soon after moving in, the dream began to unfold into a nightmare. It started with a letter, simply addressed to the new owners. Menacing in its nature, it was signed The Watcher. The letter spoke of watching over the house for decades and was filled with unsettling remarks, curious details about the Broaddus children, and cryptic questions that rattled the parents. The content of the letter left the family unnerved, but they dismissed it as the work of a prankster and went about their new lives in their beautiful home. However, over the following weeks, more letters began to arrive. Each was more disturbing than the last, mentioning specific occurrences at the house and personal details that only someone closely observing the family could know. The once idyllic setting of Boulevard Street soon became tainted by suspicion and paranoia. The Broaddus family was fearful. The house had been violated in the most personal way. Derek and Maria reached out to the police, but the letters continued unabated, each one infused with an increasingly ominous tone. The Watcher's letters spoke of their connection to the house, as if they were preserving its history. References to previous generations who had watched the house and their responsibility to continue this so-called tradition left the Broaddus family hysterical. Desperate for answers, Derek and Maria conducted their own investigations, discreetly speaking with neighbors and analyzing every detail they could find. Was the writer an eccentric former resident? An unbalanced neighbor keeping tabs from the shadows? Or was it something more sinister, a web of psychological terror spun by a master of disguise? The letters drove the Broaddus family into a state of constant anxiety, each creak in the woodwork and shadow in the window a reminder that they were not alone. They fortified their home with cameras, motion sensors, and alarms, but the unease persisted. Derek found himself spending restless nights patrolling the house, determined to catch the elusive Watcher. Despite their best efforts, the identity of the Watcher remained a mystery. The family tried to sell 657 Boulevard, but rumors had already spread, leaving it unsold. Faced with a house they no longer felt safe in, overwhelmed by fear for their children, Derek and Maria decided to move out. They continued to pay the mortgage while living elsewhere.